So, Game of the Best takes pole. Big C will join him on the front row. Row 2 we have championship leader Louis, and then Oogie will join him. Row 3 we have Greeny, Sambamkid. XJackLacey, the reign champion, on row 4 of Shortbread. Ollie finishing in top 10 in this first qualifying session. I think he'll be quite happy with that. In F1, Jamie in 10th, and then got Josh, Joel, GamefReaker, TUSZMUSZ, Paudie, MaxiLuca, Iran, Faunus, and Nick Pine did not set a time. And here we go, the 5 red lights. Game of the Best, Big C, front row, and we're off for the Spanish Grand Prix. It's a good start from Gamer. Field bunched up, lagging Force India at the back. Gamer will switch to the right hand side to fend off Big C. And it's a fairly clean start between the top 3. And Oogie is spun round, and I think he's collected a Red Ball. So I think we saw a Haas spin in the background, so Oogie drops to the back, but he definitely collected a car, Sector 1 yellows. So Game of the Best leads, and Louis gained a position there on his teammate, so Louis moves up to second, gaining a bit of bragging rights over his teammate, at least on lap 1. Sambamkid in 4th, XJackLacey moves up to 5th. MaxiLuca has made another storming start, just as he did in Russia. He's in 9th already. So MaxiLuca's gained 7 places, TUSZMUSZ has gained 6, Faunus has gained 6 as well. So that's a pretty impressive stuff. So Gamer, as we head through Sector 3 for the first time, with Louis just behind. So this is going to be a very interesting little squabble between those two. And Gamer loses the back end in the chicane immediately, and that's going to give Louis a golden chance to take the lead immediately. But Gamer somehow gets better acceleration. They tapped a little bit there, and that could have been curtains for Louis, but he maintained it. Big C just behind, but Gamer rather fortunate to retake lead, and Ollie is out of the race. He's retired already with a yes, and he was the Red Ball that was collected. So unfortunately, yeah, so Ollie's done with his race. So he may have won races in AOR, but he only lasted a lap here, but nothing to do with him, just in the wrong place at the wrong time. The Gamer continues to lead the race, and Big C, while that was going on, has retaken second from his teammate Louis. As Gamer pulls out a second advantage up front, as this field sweeps up the hill into the end of Sector 2. DRS will be available the next race, of course. Oogie is dropped to 17th, and he's in the pits for a wing change, I believe. He will probably be going for a long stint on the hard tyres to the end if he can. So Gamer getting a slight advantage at the front, but let's see if he can get this chicane right. He didn't last time, and yeah, does a much better job this time. Just behind though, Big C not getting the best entry from that chicane, and will that allow Louis to get a run on him into turn 1? XJackLacey up to 5th. He gained 2 places at the start, so he'll be looking to get his first podium this season. So we now have DRS available at the next race. So now Louis struggling slightly with the back end there, so he'll be hoping not to, but yeah, he's struggling slightly for rear grip, and he's going to become under pressure from Sambamkid and XJackLacey soon enough if he doesn't sort that out. And good evening to you, Ashbest. So let's just have a quick look at this. So Gamer's pulled out a 1.2 second advantage, so he's going to try and get out of DRS range as quickly as he can, as they'll be able to use it for the first time when they come out of the final corner of lap 3 for what is one of the main overtaking areas on this track. And XJackLacey getting extremely close to the back of that Mercedes, had to back off a little bit. Yeah, you know what I meant, Ashbest. Stop going on about it. xJackLacey with both cars DRS, unable to challenge Sambamkid for 4th effectively. So let's have a quick look down the order. Let's have a look at Josh. So Josh running in 10th at the moment. He's closing to the back of TUSZMUSZ in the Force India. So that'll be a nice scrap for 9th place. So back to the front. We have Gamer running a bit wide, and Oogie has decided to call it a day. And he has crashed at the pit lane. That might have been on purpose because he did have to pit on the first lap, but we shall see. So another non-score for Oogie. He made a very good start to the season with 2 third places in a row, but it's just not gone right for him the following 2 races. And the other Haas car of Jamie only running in 7th at the moment, so it's really not an ideal situation for the constructors leaders, because Toro Rosso, as it stands, are going to really close the gap and might even leapfrog them by the end of this race. And it's a fairly static top 3, and as Louis lost connection for a second, I thought I saw a red cross next to his name, but no, I think he's okay. But it looks like Gamer, having had a bit of problems with cold tyres on the first lap when he went through that chicane and nearly lost the lead to Louis, is really starting to settle in with the pace. 1.5 second lead to Big C, who himself is starting to get away from his teammate Louis. He doesn't seem to have quite the race pace we've seen from his last 3 races, but he'll be happy with 3rd place at the moment. A long way to go, 33 laps of this 50% race here at the Circuit de Catalunya. So Louis is coming on to fret from the Mercedes of Sambamkid and xJackLacey, and now we have the Force India of Shortbreads, who gained 2 places from the start, who will be looking to try and get into this little party. Now MaxiLuca made it a brilliant start to take 8 places from his grid slot, but he hasn't really moved any further forward at this stage, so he's going to try and close the gap to that train which is forming for the 3rd and final podium position. And now Louis, of course, doesn't have the DRS of his team from his teammate, because he's dropped 2 fade back. And good evening to you, Julian. How's it going? Sambamkid closing in onto DRS. Gets a nice line through turn 3. So has maybe a think about it, but I think he's too far back there to really challenge. And xJackLacey dropping back from Sambamkid, and he's going to be under attack from the Force India Shortbread rather very shortly. So Shortbread had a very interesting pre-season. He was in Mercedes, then he left the league briefly, then he was in a Red Bull, and now he's in Force India. So he's been in more teams than Carlos Sainz this season so far, as Louis continues to seemingly struggle with the rear tyres, because every time I look at him, he seems to be twitching a little bit with the back end, and you see it again as he rounds the final corner. And that car of Oogie, I'm not sure is actually going to disappear. I hope it's ghosting, because if it's not, the entire pit lane is blocked. And we've got flags in sector 3 constantly, so that unfortunately may be some sort of yellow flag glitch there. Favourite team in Formula 1? I don't really have one, to be honest, Julian. So it's a rather static top 6 at the moment, so we'll catch up with them. Just want to go down a little bit the order. Now Paudie started 15th, he's moved up to 10th into the points. Runs a rather wide. That green paint on the outside, if you take that too fast on the running up from turn 3, you can really be in trouble. Spin the wheels around and fly off the track. Seen that happen to several other drivers in other leagues. So for those of you who weren't here for the start, Gamer and the Toro Rosso's made a good start, but then in 4th place Ugi lost control of the car and collected the Red Bull of the debuting Ollie from the AOR leagues, and unfortunately both of them have ended up retiring. And also noticed Greeny retired. So apparently there may have been some issues with setups not loading. So there are some who may have been calling for a restart, but that's probably not going to happen now. So we'll just have to carry on. So 1.5 second advantage for that gamer has over Big C. Louis continues to fall back. He's now 3.4 seconds behind his teammate, but he's got a mini train of cars behind him. So let's see if Sambamkid can get a good run out of turn 9 to get closer under this DRS zone. Lay on the brakes, Sambamkid locking the tyres. Front tyres screaming, but it doesn't affect him. But this is a very tricky track to overtake, because generally speaking a lot of people will run the same setup in terms of the wings, so it's all about the exit from this chicane, and that's not a good enough exit from Sambamkid, and Louis will easily get away, and that's going to put him under threat from xJackLacey in the Ferrari. They'll both get DRS. Boogie's left the session, so that might clear his broken car hopefully. So can xJackLacey now go for a dive down the inside? He goes lay on the brakes, very close. Shades of Hamilton and Vettel from the real race, and Faunus is out of the race. We'll stick on board with xJackLacey just for a moment, see if he can challenge into turn 4, but no, he doesn't. So Faunus has retired, not sure why, may have just given up, might have spun or something. So let's go back to this furious battle for 3rd place. These 4 cars all close together. Gamer's now got a 1.9 second advantage, so he's just eking out a couple of tenths a lap, it seems. And once again, so close. xJackLacey thinking about a dive down the inside, but doesn't quite get that. It wasn't close enough really. And MaxiLuca has closed. It's beginning to close in on Jamie. It's now only 2.2 second gap between those two. And Shortbread locking his tyres again. Again, it's not the best exit, and into the pits comes Shortbread. Undercut can be quite powerful here. Lap 10, fairly early, and gamerdabest pits as well from the lead. Oh, and Josh has spun just before the pit entry. Wow. So Big C assumes the lead of the race. It's a Toro Rosso 1-2 currently. Sambamkid about as close as he's been, and oh, Louis goes to the right and he nearly loses control. And xJackLacey dives down the inside of the Mercedes and he forces him wide slightly. xJackLacey moves up to 3rd for now. So Max Gamer comes out in clear road ahead of the McLaren of Paudie, so that's good for his race. He's on the hard compound, so he'll be running to the end. So can the short Sambamkid retake his position? xJackLacey with DRS ahead of him. It's going to be difficult. So Gamer making an early stop back to the front. Big C with a 4.7 advantage to his teammate. And will he pit on this lap, or will he try to see these tyres out a bit? So Josh, having maybe had contact with someone, we didn't see what happened. So we've now got 5 cars out of the race, only 14 running now. And Louis pits, as does the Ferrari. So it's a three-way battle in the pit stop. So let's go on board with Sambamkid. Switches to hard tyres. So where does he end up? And as you were, good work from all the pit crews. to not lose any positions in that respect, especially the Ferrari one. But unlike Game of the Best, those cars who have just come out, they're going to end up in traffic. Now that could be an interesting situation for the likes of Jamie and MaxiLuca who have stayed out. They might be able to gain some time here. And Big C continues on his way with a 7.5 second advantage over, he's got a car behind him. I don't know who that is. I think that must be Iran, because he's 37 seconds behind, so he's been lapped already, so he's had a race to forget. Sauber have in general, they're running 13th and 14th currently. TUSZMUSZ in the Red Bull, he had a decent start I thought, but it's not really worked out for him, so Big C pits. And will Jamie join him? No, he will carry on, and oh, MaxiLuca's lost it at the chicane. Oh dear, that could be costly. And he will pit for a new set of tyres, and looks like Gamer should retake the lead. Now where's Big C going to end up? There goes Gamer in the Mercedes. Oh, Big C, oh, he's going to get overtaken by at least one McLaren, Paudie, so he's going to end up in a bit of traffic. And Gamer will be delighted with that. So Big C switching to the hard compound as well. I expect most of them will. So Jamie with a 9.9 second advantage, but it's Gamer in the Mercedes who is net first, making the one-stop strategy. And now can Big C maybe have a little think about moving Paudie to get rid of Paudie straight away? He will have very warm 12 lap tyres. Oh, and Paudie loses it in the background and nearly collects Gamefreaker. So Paudie loses 3 places in a few mere seconds. Paudie's tyres are clearly shot. And Shortbread, we saw him pit earlier than the guys behind him when they were in that train for 3rd place, and he's managed to undercut all of them to get ahead of XJackLacey, Louis and Sambamkid. So brilliant work from the Force India driver, but now he's got to deal with this slow moving McLaren, and he dives down the inside in the chicane, and yeah, Paudie, he's got oh, and he's collected. Louis hit the back of him. I saw some wing damage. Yeah, look, he's lost part of his end plate. That's going to affect Louis. So the championship leader is in trouble. A lot of trouble. And look at Pine and Gamefreaker battling away. They haven't stopped yet. So Pine, Gamefreaker, the only two in the top 10 who haven't pitted so far. But Louis is going to be extremely compromised now. Sambamkid has gone for the 2-stop strategy by the looks of it, because he switched to the soft tyres. Louis is going to have to defend furiously. He's going to have much inferior tyres, at least for now. And Jamie's on the 1-stop as well. But Louis, that wing damage, I'm sure he has wing damage, is going to seriously compromise him. Can he defend? Can he do anything against this Mercedes, who's on the much better tyres right now? Both stopped at the same time. Well, Louis continues to fend him off for now. Now Gamefreaker and Pine, they're going to be, you would think, easy prey given their tyre disadvantage at this stage. But Nick Pine, he's on the hard compound from the beginning, so he'll be looking to go as deep as he can, so he can go for the softs to complete his race. Gamefreaker having DRS, so he's able to defend against xJackLacey Shortbread more effectively. And yes, look, it's a wing change for Louis, and that may be his race done in terms of being in the big points. But we saw Paudie struggling in that chicane, and then suddenly, and Paudie's back in the pits again. He only just pitted a lap ago. So QBRB's making a second stop of the race, and Sambamkid has made a second stop as well, and he's gone onto the mediums. Well, I don't know what's happened to him, but he may have got wing damage too, but their race is very much compromised. So these are the current tyres people are running on. So Nick Pine is the only person who hasn't pitted in terms of the top three. Neither is GamingAlimonda, but he's losing time and positions. Shawbread, XJackLacey have got past him during this lap. Jamie still running in 7th. And despite his problems, MaxiLuca, we saw him spin at the chicane, he had to come into pit. But thanks to the issues with people like Sambamkid and QBR Beasts, has managed to get back into the points. So we've just seen TUSZMUSZ retired, and TUSZMUSZ has lost it in the pit lane. Another one. Did he come in too hot, or did he just call it a day? I've seen a few of these things happen. So a lot of retirements, and ahead we see Nick Pine under attack from Shawbread. Shawbread with the much superior grip and tyres at the moment. Nick Pine hasn't stopped yet, 15 laps on those hard tyres, and Shawbread moves back up to 3rd position. But he's on the wrong tyres if he is indeed on the short tyres. And now XJackLacey going for a move at turn 9. That's a brave place to overtake, but I think Nick Pine probably knew he had nothing to fight with. Will he attempt to dive back down in the hairpin? Oof, and he hits the back and doesn't want to wreck his ring now. So a rundown of the race order then. gamerdabest, having made his one and only stop, running in 1st position. Big C 3.7 seconds back in 2nd. Shawbread currently running in 3rd. XJackLacey 4th. Pine in 5th. And GamingAlimonda in 6th. Those two haven't pitted yet. Then we've got Jamie running in 7th. MaxiLuca in 8th. Louis running in a lowly 9th. This is a dip in fortunes after the fantastic results he got in the first few races. And Joel in the Sauber rounds up the top 10. And then we got Paudie, Sambamkid and Iran making up the rest of the field, who have had really difficult races up to this point. Sambamkid's made a 3rd stop. Yeah, Sambamkid's made a 3rd stop onto the hard tyres. So I can only assume he's picked the wrong tyres twice, because he's made pit stops in 3 consecutive laps, it seems. What a disaster. He was in the fight for a podium, no question about it. So these are the current gaps of the whole field. So it's absolutely playing into the hands of some of the other drivers today. So if Shawbread's going to make this strategy work on the soft tyres, he's going to have to really get a move on. So Shawbread, unsurprisingly, with the fastest lap at this moment, given that he's on the soft tyres, a 1:21.577, fastest lap of the race. And given that Big C is on the hard compound, we might see a battle for 2nd between these two shortly. Pine still going. And GamingAlimonda has pitted at last onto the hard compound. And now he's going to be under attack from Louis on the medium compound. So let's see. Championship leader has had a race to forget it's so far, but let's see what he can do. GamingAlimonda will have to defend. DRS opens for Louis. Getting closer, closer. Louis has a little look, but he's not really close enough. Little lock of the tyre for the Renault driver ahead. And it's not the best entry to turn 3 from GamingAlimonda, but Louis, it has to be said, didn't get the best one either. Cold, hard tyres for GamingAlimonda, not helping. So Nick Pine has gained 14 positions, but he still has to pit, of course. But it's still a very sterling effort from Pine. He'll be pitting probably in the next 5 or 6 laps, unless he wants to stretch it out a bit further and use the soft tyres. He's currently only 12.5 seconds off the lead after all that, but he's not going to finish in that position, you would think. And on the second DRS, Louis has taken 8th position, so that's another position change. So let's go back to the front. Gamer took pole position with a fantastic lap, and he's pretty much controlled it. He had a difficult first lap where he was challenged by Louis after making quite a big mistake of the chicane at the end of lap 1, but since then hasn't really put a foot wrong. And Big C on his return to PSGL today, I think he'll be quite pleased with 2nd place as a foundation for the rest of the season. Had a good scrap with Louis over his teammate, but there's no one threatening him. The shortbread on the soft tyres isn't really making the headway that he needs to really make this 2-stop work. So XJackLacey, if shortbread has to pit again, is looking good for his first podium of the season in the Ferrari. I will check penalties a little later, maybe in about 5 or 6 laps time. So let's have a look and see if there's any battles we can... So GameFreaker still somewhat close to Louis, and shortbread pits, so he makes the decision not to lose too much time and comes in for the medium. So where will he end up? Well, he's going to come out ahead of MaxiLuca in 6th place, so he's come out around 12 seconds behind Jamie. He's going to have the faster compound than most of the guys ahead of him, and Nick Pine, as we know, still has to pit, so shortbread may have a slight chance of still getting a podium, but he's going to have to really push like mad to get it. So the top 3 is settled down. Game of 4-second advantage to Big C, and Big C 7 seconds ahead of XJackLacey. So unfortunately for the lead, there's not much chance of a battle unless some of them run into problems with their tyres or simply make an individual mistake. So I think in the midfield, we'll have to see if there's anything going on in the midfield. But even there, now there is a battle now going on for 11th, which is the only real battle on track, it has to be said right now. So Sambamkid closes to the back of the McLaren, and he takes 11th place down into turn 4. A rather simple manoeuvre, unless Paudie can come back at him, and he's not close enough to do so. Paudie running on the medium tyres. I was just checking something. So Sambamkid getting away. So Irin running in 13th. He's kept going despite some of the issues he's had in this race. Running in 13th. But yeah, unfortunately, not much in the way of battles going on. So Gamer in the lead. Big C in 2nd. XJackLacey in 3rd. Pine incidentally still hasn't stopped. 21 laps on that original set of hard tyres. Once he comes into the pits for the soft tyres, he will be lightning quick. He'll be doing that in a couple of laps time, I imagine. So I think this is probably a good opportunity to check the penalties. So let's have a look. So you can see quite a lot of collisions on the first lap. So let's see, Gamer has 2 warnings. Big C has 3 warnings, but no penalty. XJackLacey has a penalty. Pine, no penalties. Jamie has no penalties. I mean, it's a track that doesn't really lend itself to penalties, really. You should be able to keep penalty free here, unless you cut the chain. MaxiLuca probably got penalties for going over the chicane when he spun out. So he may not stay where he is, currently in 7th. So shortbread still running a 6th. Let's see. Is he managing to close the gap at all to Jamie in front. We're 10.9 seconds behind, so he has gained a bit of time on Jamie in that time, since he's pitting for the mediums. Yep, so Gamer continues on his way, so I think what I'm looking forward to is seeing this Nick Pine pitting and going on SOS, because he'll be able to charge after some of the midfield guys, so hopefully we'll get some action based off that. Now interestingly, Big C was around 6 seconds behind, but he's now closed the gap down to 4.4 seconds. So could there yet be a battle for the lead? There's still 11 laps to go. Well, will be now. But gap goes up slightly again to 4.5 seconds. Nick Pine finally comes into the pits. Judging by the gaps, I think he'll probably come out somewhere, perhaps maybe 9th place or 8th. But he will be the guy to watch for the rest of the race, given the tyre advantage he is about to have. So Nick Pine switches to the soft tyres. So we see the Williams and MaxiLucaGT go by. Where is Louis? Louis rounds the final corner. Will he jump him? No. So Pine comes out in 7th place. So realistically, what can he do from there? Well, Pine may be able to gain a couple of places. I think he won't mind, as long as he gets some good points today, just to sort of get his season starting somewhat. And Gamefreaker pits again. Oh, has he? It looks like he's damaged his wing. So Gamefreaker will drop out of the points, which would be a real shame for him. Yeah, wing change for the Renault driver. So Gamefreaker drops down, probably to the back of the field. So Sambamkid, despite pitting 3 times, is back in the points. So he'll be quite happy with that. So now let's see, MaxiLucaGT is Nick Pine's opponent up the road. Already seems to be gaining a bit of time. Could be a real contender for fastest lap now that the fuel's so low. It's a shame. Thought there might have been a battle of the team, but no, he's just lapping the Sauber of Iran. He's on the medium tyres, so might be trying to get past xJackLacey. So this would be a solid return for xJackLacey. He's had a, he's been involved in some good action so far this season, but hasn't quite had the results to match. But I think he'll take some real confidence if he can finish in 3rd place. And Louis pits. So clearly he's looking to get a consolation prize of the fastest lap. And Nick Pine making rapid progress. He's already got the gap down to 3.7 seconds to MaxiLucaGT. So I'm looking forward to seeing a good little battle between them, just to give you guys some action at least. So gamerdabest looking on course for his first win of the season, and perhaps putting himself back into contention for the title later in the season, especially if he can repeat this in the coming races. We have Canada next week, then Britain the following week to look forward to as we reach the halfway stage of the season. And Nick Pine sets the fastest lap for 1:20.887. And he's now really beginning to put the pressure on MaxiLucaGT now down to 2.8 seconds in the battle for 6th place. And I think we'll see Louis catching up to the Sauber driver of Joel as well, so imminently we are going to get some good midfield action. MaxiLuca running wide, that's going to just make Nick Pine's job all the easier. Less than 2.5 second gap between the two now. And QBRB's making similar gains onto Joel. And this may not be much of a contest because Louis is rapidly catching him up. Excuse me. Well, Shortbread will probably look back on this race and realise he made the wrong strategy call, because I believe he would probably be at very least fighting xJackLacey for the final podium spot. But as it is, he's ended up 7 seconds behind Jamie, who's up to 4th now. So Haas getting some decent points still, despite Oogie's problems today. We've had 6 retirements from the race. So Nick Pine now closest under 2 seconds to MaxiLuca. But QBR may catch his opponent first, and he sets the fast lap with a 1:28.64. Championship leader knows that every point will count towards the end of the season if he's still in the fight in Abu Dhabi, so he has to value getting those points off Joel if he can catch the Sauber driver. It's now only 1.2 seconds between Nick Pine, 1.6 seconds from MaxiLuca. But I do think that the rate of knots that Louis is going, saving his best pace of the race to the last few laps, is going to really give Joel a very difficult task of holding on to 8th place. Not quite in DRS range, but he nearly is. Now as they go through this sector, he certainly is. Gamefreaker out of the race, and he's lost it. He's lost it at turn 5. Must have put it on the curb and he's just spun it into the wall. What a bizarre place to crash. Nick Pine not quite in DRS range, but Louis certainly is. Gets not the best exit. He's still going to have superior grip. I'll stay on board with Louis now as we see the battle for 8th place. Sauber versus Toro Rosso. Equal performance, of course. And Louis has a little look to try and put Joel off. And look at the grip advantages that Louis has as they sweep round this fantastic turn 3. Best corner on the track in my opinion. And now will Louis go for a dive down the inside? No, he has a little look. Joel hanging it on to the outside, but he's just struggling for grip to be on those tyres far longer than the soft tyres of Louis, which is even bigger disadvantage. But Joel still hanging on to it for now. Back to 7th place. Nick Pine has now closed almost to within DRS range. But let's go back to this battle. They sweep up the hill into turn 9, second DRS activation zone, and Louis almost overshooting, such was the speed advantage. Backed off a little bit. Joel goes defensive. Around the outside goes Louis, the championship leader. Can he get those extra points? And they touch wheels a little bit. Joel, oh, and big bang in the side of Louis there, and he's forced Joel off the track. Well, that's the second incident Joel's been involved in. He was involved in one last week with gamerdabest. And well, unfortunately the camera angle said we didn't get all the impact. We saw QB definitely gave him a fair whack, and he's wonder if Louis is he's going quite slowly. I wonder if he's gonna let Joel catch up and retake the position. Doesn't seem to be going full speed for some reason. So Nick Pine is closed into DRS range at last with MaxiLuca, as we now enter lap 29. The top 4, or top 5 rather, has No sign of it changing. Big gaps between all the drivers in the top 4 now. So this is the main on-track battle. Well, Louis has a 4.5 second advantage, so maybe he's not slowing down. He might have taken some damage, perhaps, in that incident. So Nick Pine opens the wing, but MaxiLuca comfortably retains the place for now. But MaxiLuca sort of shifted to the right a little bit, so that would have compromised his turn 3 just a little bit. You see that debris from Gamefreaker's crash. Yep. So according to Gamefreaker, the Renault driver, he had lost his front wing running P9, and then he crashed out with no downforce. So that does explain why he did crash at a place where, generally speaking, that sort of thing wouldn't normally happen. So MaxiLuca now having to defend against this McLaren. I think Pine would probably agree this has been his best drive of the season so far. Sort of avoided all the trouble, especially the carnage at the start. Really good stint on the hard tyres, and that's put him into a good points paying position. So Nick Pine, this is as close as he's been. It's getting closer and closer. DRS slipstream had a little look. Would he go for a dive perhaps? No, not close enough. That would have been a suicidal dive there. Contact would have been 100% certain. As they sweep up turn 3, lap 30 of the PSGL F1 Spanish Grand Prix. Pace of the top 3 has been tremendous, and the strategies of the top 3 have been excellent. Shawbread, as we mentioned earlier, will be looking back on the strategy calls he made, which probably cost him a podium position. I think MaxiLuca and Mick Pine will be very pleased with their work. They'd get 10 places and 12 places, respectively. As I head through sector 3 again. So let's see. Can Pine's got to just keep pressuring him. Try and make MaxiLuca make a mistake at this section. They run over the curb. MaxiLuca gets a good exit, Pine does too, it's pretty much even. And now Rich Rev's on for sure, saw his dash adjust. Pine may have to think about a dive soon if he wants that place badly enough. So heading into turn 4 for the 31st time. 3 laps to go, including this one. We had some good action early on in the race. Then we had a bit of a lull in the middle with quite large gaps at the front, but it's good to see the midfield's giving us some good action towards the end. But it's certainly a lesson that if you can just keep your nose out of trouble, you can get top positions in the races, because guys at the front have really had solid races in that respect. Oh, Pine nearly losing the back end, and that's going to cost him a little bit of time. Perhaps those soft tyres starting to fade a little bit. Penultimate lap as Gamer heads on his way. Yeah, Nick Pine not close enough to attempt to pass. Doesn't even have DRS anymore. So that little battle for 6th place might be at an end. But let's enjoy. It's a few sweeping corners here. Lovely section of corners, followed up by turn 3. Well, back to the front. Gamerdabest. It's been an imperious session for him today. Qualified on pole with a smashing lap. Starting on pole here can be really important. given how difficult it can be to overtake on this game compared to F1 2016. He's just controlled a gap to Big C, who again hasn't had the out and out pace of Gamer today, but he's just solidly gone about his business. And xJackLacey on course for his best result of the season so far. 11 points from the opening 3 rounds, so he's going to get 10, so he's going to effectively double his score today. And we've had 7 retirements. I get the sense there may be a bit of controversy in the chat about whether the race should have been restarted or not. I'm not going to go through the specifics because it's not my business to, and I am not the admin. I am just a mere humble commentator. So the final lap of the race, gamerdabest probably went into this dream situation, showed impressive pace in the practice sessions that the guys had, but he's really just going to quickly switch back to Pine as he got any closer. He's still close, but not close enough, as Gamer rounds the final corner and he wins the Spanish Grand Prix in fantastic style. Maximum 16 points. Big C will cross the line in second place. Another good result for Toro Rosso, but this time it's a 7-time world champion who takes it. And xJackLacey will cross the line in third place to complete the podium. And pretty soon we'll see Jamie cross the line. Another solid result for the Haas driver, which will allow him to close the gap of the championship. Shortbreak finishes in 5th, and MaxiLuca and Pine takes 6th with penalties. So Pine got his reward in the end. Then we're just waiting for the final finishes. And there's been a change on the final lap between Joel and Sambamkid by the looks of it. So we're going to get Louis finishes in 8th, and they're still swapping position. It's a shame I can't cover it because of the glitch where you can't switch cars. And Joel, or Sam, I didn't actually say, but what a fantastic win. So we will interview the top 3 very shortly. But let's enjoy the podium. A very unfamiliar sight in Formula 1. A Ferrari and a Mercedes in the top 2. Or top 3 rather. So gamerdabest makes his mark. The 4th different winner of the season. So MaxiLuca win in Bahrain, Jamie in China, Louis in Russia, but the Spanish Grand Prix belongs to gamerdabest. With a brilliant drive for Mercedes. And there is the final result. Quite a lot of penalties. MaxiLuca had 17 seconds of penalties. It's a wonder he didn't lose any more positions. He would have done if there hadn't been so many retirements. So Gamer takes the win. Big C second. xJackLacey completing the podium, the reigning champion with his best result of his title defence so far. Jamie in 4th, Shawbread in 5th, Pine in 6th, MaxiLuca in 7th. So those two in particular, good fights on the back of the grid. QPR Beast, disappointing race for him, but still scores in 8th. Sambamkid finished 9th in the end despite stopping 3 times. And Joel takes the final championship point for Sauber in 10th.